In this week's sharpshooting chapter of Bleach, Mayuri Kuratsuchi has concluded his battle with the giant mutated hand Pernita. This week's chapter also sees the return of two classic fan-favorite characters, and even though Mayuri Kuratsuchi's battle is over, another one is about to begin, between the sharpshooting sniper Quincy Lille Barro and the eye-patch-wearing Shunsui Kyoraku. You know you're gonna have a pretty good chapter of Bleach when it opens up with a great scene of Mayuri Kuratsuchi casually walking down a city street as giant geysers of blood explode all around him. The conclusion of his battle with Pernita was very satisfying, and I'd go as far as to say it's probably my favorite battle that he's had in the entire series. What's really convenient and crazy though is that before they actually got to the battlefield, Nemu actually brought along these stasis pods which people can actually heal themselves in, and inside of these pods are Rangiku Matsumoto and Toshiro Hitsugaya. Yes, they have been healed and they have been saved from being turned into zombies. Apparently these pods can heal just about anything, they can reverse zombification, and now Kenpachi Zaraki and Mayuri Kuratsuchi are going to be hanging out in these things for probably the duration of the final arc of Bleach. And to me that is kind of a disappointment because I wanted to see a little bit more from Kenpachi, but honestly at least we got to see more of their abilities in this final arc anyway. What is really cool about this though is that we are going to see the return of Toshiro and Rangiku, and what's really great about these two characters too is one, they play really well off of each other, and I'd say at this point they are tired of all of the bullshit because they basically got the ever-living shit beat out of them in the beginning of this arc, so I imagine they're going to want to get some swift revenge. The catch-22 is, whenever you use these pods or whenever it reverses zombification, it apparently shortens their lifespan, so they have to be really careful if they don't want to overexert themselves in battle. But just getting to see the return of these characters is fantastic, and also getting to see sort of a nice conclusion to Mayuri's battle, because not only is he getting in the pod, but he also has the brain of Nemu with him, which he, creepily enough, is keeping within his robes. It's actually kind of gross when you think about it, but he's also really happy because he now realizes that he's created a being which can evolve on its own and have its very own thoughts, and he's really happy because this has sort of put him on even level with Kisuke Urahara, his other fellow scientist. And what I really love about the scene is that not only is he acknowledging him, but it also transitions immediately to a scene with Urahara, who's hanging out with Shunsui and their group as they're running through the city, and that's when they run into Lille Barro, who is still continuing to snipe people from afar. And there's this really great scene where it seems like he hits Shunsui like point blank right in the chest. But Shunsui actually manages to attack him with the power of nursery rhymes. I'm not even kidding either, like that's literally what happens in this chapter. Lille Barro shoots him, he gets a little overconfident, and then suddenly these panels start to show up where you get to have Shunsui Kyoraku, who's actually singing "Rock-a-bye baby in the treetop, when the wind blows the cradle will rock, when the bough breaks the cradle will fall, and down will come Shunsui, decapitating your face." The scene here is not only tense and ominous, but it also has a little bit of humor to it, because that's the whole deal with Shunsui. He happens to have a lot of fun in his battles, and his reactionary shot where he jumps up right behind Lil is really funny and also intimidating at the same time, and he actually manages to cut the barrel off of his gun, and I imagine this is going to lead to a very intense battle. And as much as I would actually love to see Shunsui fight against Lille Barro, I actually have a feeling that one of the other subordinates are going to jump in and take over the fight for him. I just don't have a feeling that Lil's going to be much of a match for Shunsui, especially how he tricked him in this week's chapter, but maybe there's going to be another shock and twist to this, because I honestly didn't think that Pernita was going to be all that powerful, and Pernita ended up pushing Mayuri completely up against the wall and making him use his most crazy abilities. So I really can't wait to see what these big higher-ups that work directly under the Quincy leader are really going to be capable of. I think Pernita was a really great preview of what they're actually going to do. So I'm really excited for this battle, and this week's chapter right here was on freaking point. So what's the rundown on this week's chapter of Bleach? Just everything really worked in this one. It was the end of one battle, it was the beginning of another one, everything was wrapped up perfectly with Mayuri and the story of Nemu. Hopefully we'll get to see the return of that character sometime by the end of the series. Maybe there'll be another twist where she suddenly does return. I actually originally theorized when I saw those pods for the first time that he would already have bodies ready, and that he was simply just going to place Nemu's brain in another body. But no, it was a nice bigger surprise when we got to see the return of Toshiro Hitsugaya and Rangiku Matsumoto, who I'm just so glad to see those characters back, because because one thing that I've been saying since the beginning of Bleach, even when I was just watching originally the anime version, I always felt that Toshiro Hitsugaya was so popular and such an amazing character that he himself could practically have been the main character of the series. I really feel like Ichigo felt like more of a side character than him, and that's only because Ichigo barely shows up at all. He's basically just always running around, training, and of course showing up for the final battle of every arc. That's just what Ichigo does, and that's pretty much what's going on right here again, although I could be surprised. We're just going to have to wait and read. The other little surprise, of course, is the beginning of the battle with Shunsui and with Lille Barro, which I think is really awesome. I think that Lille Barro is a character who needs to be taken out quick, because he is just sniping people constantly from afar. There was still that one scene where it looked like he took out Shuhei, which I still don't believe he killed him. I just don't want to accept that yet. I have imagined that maybe he'll even show up in this battle so that he can get his swift revenge against him too. Just, this would be, again, an opportunity to use some more of these side characters who have had cool scenes in the series before, but haven't had enough focus on them. Still, I honestly can't really predict where this is all going to be going, and that's something that I think is really interesting, because usually you can see a lot of this stuff coming from a mile away, but I really think we have some big surprises, which are going to be coming very soon in the final arc of Bleach, which is continuing to be a very exciting read, just like this week's chapter, which had some very good dialogue, some amazing artwork, especially that opening page of Mayuri walking past all the giant explosions, and of course, some amazing action, which is being shown off at the end. So check out this week's chapter of Bleach, Bleach fans. Whether you watch the anime version or you're continuing to read the manga, you gotta check this one out. It's pretty freaking awesome. So I think it goes without saying that I really enjoyed this week's chapter, and I had no complaints, so I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5. But before you guys leave today, I want to hear your thoughts on this week's chapter of Bleach. What did you think about the conclusion of the battle between Mayuri and Pernita? Are you happy to see the return of Toshiro Hitsugaya and Rangiku Matsumoto? What do you want to see them do in the final arc of Bleach? And what's going to happen in the battle between Lille Barro and Shunsui Kyoraku? Are they actually going to battle? Is someone else going to take his place? Is there going to be another twist? Please tell me in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching my review. Make sure to like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. That way you can see all of our latest anime and manga reviews and our weekly podcast show, which I highly recommend checking out. It's a great way to communicate with us. You guys can also follow us on social media. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby.